available in your airport mind. It's going to be a back and a shoulder massage, a foot and ankle massage, and a scalp massage.
Welcome to the most beautiful city of Colombia, Cartagena, Cartagena de Indias. So my name is Julio. So at this moment I'm going to be your tour guide and also your friend. So if you have any questions about Cartagena, about Colombia, please ask me. The driver's name is Rafael. Rafael is the driver's name. And remember always the bus number 23. Bus number 23, Julio. Remember that today we have 2 cruise ships, so it's going to be buses of the other company with the same number. So this is Royal Caribbean's bus number 23. Remember that. Well, at the beginning, we are going to make a photo stop at the San Felipe Barana Fortress. The biggest fortress built by the Spaniards in America was never been taken. Means Cartagena, the Spaniards, about 480 years ago, became Cartagena in the most important city of Spain in America. Because the first inhabitants of this territory was Indians. So the Spaniards came here to conquest and colonize and became the city really, because in Cartagena, that's where the Spaniards, they kept the gold, the emerald and silver from Peru. And all that richness was shipping from Cartagena to Spain every 3 months. That's why Cartagena during 200 years was attacked most by English and French pirates. We have English attack like made by John Hawking, Sir Francis Drake, Sir Edward Vernon, French like a Pointis Ducas. So the Spaniards, in order to defend the city against different pirates attacks, they decided to build fortification all around the city. And San Felipe de Barajas is one of them. So from the fortress San Felipe, we are going to visit the old city, the whole city. The place, that's the place where we are going to stay most of the time, in the old city. It stays in the old city about an hour and a half. In the old city, visiting first the dungeons, that the dungeons in the old days, they were being used as a jails, as a prisons. All of them right now, there are 22 handcraft shops. That's the best place. So if you want to buy handcraft from Colombia and also Ecuador and Peru, that is in the dungeons that in 17th, 18th century was being used as a jails, as a prisons. From the dungeons, then we're gonna make a little walking tour about half an hour, in order that you appreciate the old Spanish architecture, old buildings from 16th, 17th, 18th century. Means original one, but they have been restored. And then we're gonna visit 2 places in the old city. Palace of the Inquisitions. See the torture chamber, witches' rooms, the Inquisition Palace, and the San Pedro Claver Church. In Colombia, the 95% of population is Catholic. You see, look at the press. It's getting white. It's not for suntan. It's because local people in Cartagena, keep touching the breast in order to make sure that it's not silicone, that it's not plastic. Yo no te vi ahí. ¿Tú estabas ahí? Yeah, sir, this is the everyday one. We have... the house will be staying 3 months. That's why we say this is the house of St. Francis Drake. Because he was here 3 months. So this is how they have this area before they want to get it to play with Spanish people. I'm talking about 17 but it's not the original. Look at this. How it says from here we know it's like a Maria Mulata, like a black. Okay, look at the Simon Bolivar. also laid down some, the member of the Inquisition, type for the hand, this one was for the testicles. Right? I don't know if they want to be a volunteer right there. But two members of the Inquisition, when the Inquisitor said, they started to roll the wheels in opposite direction. It was in order to stretch the body of the person. While they were doing that, they were asking questions about the crime. Is that true that you are not Catholic? Or from, by this torture, we are going to convert you in Catholic? No? Okay. Okay, this is the cloister of Pedro Claver. As I told you, Pedro Claver was born in Verdun, Spain. 1680. So he came to Cartagena in 1610. And in the cathedral, we already passed. In 1616, he became a Jesuit. Change the system. Today, we're going to change the system. In those windows, inside was the classrooms. Before, it was behind and acted as a Jesuit of the cross. Today, we have the making the restorations. That plaque was being founded there. That plaque said in English that in this chamber died the Venerado Claver the day 8 September 1654. That's why they're certain that he died in this place. You see the paintings showing Pedro Claver some days before his death, with some Jesuit priests, fathers around, and some slaves, Africans around his bed. Only you see the statue. Remember that the remains are inside the church. So we keep watching through these windows, because from here they see the sea expecting the arrival of the ship from Africa. So San Pedro Claver was a Spanish priest that came to Cartagena about 400 years ago in order to dedicate his whole life to protect, to cure, to help the African slaves. He was really the first man who really cared for the human rights of the African slave at that time. So we're gonna see the house where we live and died, and also the remains of the saint that are inside the church. Well, after visiting the San Pedro Claver Church, we're gonna see the new city. Maybe you saw coming to Cartagena a lot of tall buildings in one area. Those tall buildings, most there are hotels and apartment buildings. That was one of the resort areas of Cartagena. The name Boca Grande. In Boca Grande, we're gonna make the last stop at the Pirino Gallo Shopping Center. You know that Colombia is well known because produce the best coffee and the best emeralds. Colombia is the country of the coffee and the emeralds. So Pirino Gallo is a small shopping, but it's the best best place for shopping emerald, gold, and silver. And it's people in Colombia is very open, friendly, open, warm people that make tourists to feel like a Colombiano. So for me, it was being a pleasure to be your tour guide. I hope that you really like my service, the service of the drivers. So I only come from the driver.
behalf of the pilot aboard, and myself were now already guide. We would like to give you the warmest welcome here to this famous and wonderful waterway. Well, we have started the journey already, the transit heading southbound here in the Panama Canal. We're crossing from the Caribbean Sea to the Pacific Ocean. Up to the port side, we have also the second largest city of Panama, which is known as Colon. Colon is actually the name after Christopher Columbus, which in Spanish is Colon. Colon actually has about 300,000 inhabitants. Colon was founded back in 1852. It's one of the most important cities here in the Republic of Panama, since we have the duty-free zone in this province. Colon Free Zone is actually the second largest in the world after Hong Kong. We have already Limon Bay Breakwater, which is actually behind us at this moment, keeping the area here inside the bay calm, the water, for vessels to anchor inside the canal area. We were assigned actually an even number. All southbound vessels are assigned even numbers. Vessels heading north, they will be assigned odd numbers. And this is actually to handle better the traffic or the transits through the canal. Some of the vessels have the same name, some names are difficult to pronounce or read. So to handle better the operation, we assign numbers, even and odd numbers, the direction they're heading to. Well, in front of us we have two tugboats which are heading this way as well. This vessel was assigned two tugboats to assist during the transit. These tugboats will assist the ones who are entering the two locks. There will be also other launches heading this way. One will bring the two other canal pilots aboard, and the other launch will bring the crew of line handlers that will be aboard the vessel at the bow and stern to help or assist to connect the cables from the locomotives once we have reached the locks. At this moment, I would like also to point out another specific place and very important, which is here to the right, the starboard side. There's kind of an entrance of another canal. This is actually what the French were doing back in 1881. This French canal was to be a sea level canal, which is totally different from a lock type canal that we have now. The French sea level canal was to be a huge ditch connecting both oceans, 50 miles long. Take all the pictures you can. This is the only place where you can actually see the attempt of the French trying to build a sea level canal here to the right. To the left, we can see the steel structures in great color. Actually, these are the new gates, rolling gates for the new locks. We already have 4 of them. They were built in Italy, and they were brought in here in a huge barge. Or if I can say, special vessel actually, They brought this gate here to taking about a month to arrive. There will be 16 gates actually in total. The average weight for each gate is about 3,300 tons. You can see here much better the size, the dimensions they have. These will be rolling gates or sliding gates, way different from what we have now inside the original lodge.
Para cantar. Llegó de pronto a mi pensamiento esta bella melodía y como nada tenía, aproveché en el momento y como nada tenía, aproveché en el momento. De melodía. Tiene una nota muy recogida que no parece hecha mía. Ella que estaba en el río pensando en Matildelina. Sería que estaba en el río pensando en Matildelina. Corazón, el bello canto de los turpiales me acompañaron una canción, canción del alma, canción querida que para mí fue sublime. Al recordarte, Matilde, sentí temor por mi vida. Al recordarte, Matilde, sentí temor por mi vida. pendiente que en las sabanas vive una hembra muy popular. Es elegante, todos la miran y en su tierra tiene fama. Cuando Matilde camina, hasta sonríe la sabana. Cuando Matilde camina.
Well, during the construction days by the Americans, there were actually 3 ships in charge during the whole 10 years. The formation here of the land or the ground was very unstable. Either it had rock on top of earth, or vice versa, earth on top of rock. And it was very unstable once they were excavated. Also, they found 17 different types of volcanic rock only in this area. Two explosions of dynamite were done during the canal constructions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. Well, there goes the tourism vessel here to the left, port side. You can see the vessel in front of us. The tanker is actually getting closer to Pedro Miguel Lodge. It's right after the Centennial Bridge. But probably is waiting now to enter the locks. Probably not ready yet. So we're going to have to also slow down and wait a few minutes until this area clears and we can enter as well the locks. Is around 3,500 feet, crosses over to the interior of the country, to other provinces to the west. Actually, that's the Panama Highway. If you take the road to the right, crossing the bridge, this will take you all the way to Alaska. But if you were coming using the other direction to the left, it will end up in the province of Darien. There's no road or highway that connects Panama to South America, or to Colombia in this case. So the Panama Highway ends here in Panama. The clearance of the Centennial Bridge is 262 feet. doors, and you're able to see on both sides, are 604 feet. This is actually a cable stay bridge, way different than swing bridge. Once again, this is a cable stay bridge that was built back in 2002 at a cost of $200 million. The highway that connects with the bridge actually was built in 2003, and it was not open until then. The bridge was completed in 2002. Okay, first of all, we need to remember that we're going to be transferring the water from the upper chamber to the lower chamber in this case, you will be able to see how we fill the lower chamber up with water in front of us. Same procedure, just remember the water is going through the culverts and tunnels out to the other chamber. The operates 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, since 1963. Well, during that year, under a modernization program, lamps were installed in different places of the canal for the night transits. Before 1963, the canal only operated 12 hours a day, only during daylight. During the 1960s, the canal, under other projects, changed the high mast lighting that were inside the locks. In the 80s, they were once again upgraded to the ones we can see at this moment. Each high mast lighting that we have here inside the locks are 100 feet in height. Each lamp has a 600 watt bulb. Canal is all well lit up throughout the night. If you were to fly over the canal during the night, it would look like a gigantic airport, 50 miles long. Okay, here in Miraflores locks, we have a different view of the visitor center. The building, you can see to the left at around 10 o'clock to the port side. This is the visitor center that was built back in 2003. It has 4 levels of exhibitions. Each level gives a different explanation of the canal. For example, the history and operation. The other one about the main resource, natural resource that we need to use here in the canal, which is water, and of course the expansion of the canal. There's also a 3D movie that is shown, and it explains the history and operation of the canal. There's cafeterias, there's restaurants, and also observation decks. This visitor center is open every day of the year. What I mentioned, there's also a live cam here in Miraflores locks. Right after the visitor center, you see the steel tower, orange and white. Right at the top, we have the camera. So we should be coming out live right now in the internet. Okay, here to the left we can see the old pavilion or old visitor center, and we have also in exhibit there the first type of locomotive to be used here in the canal since 1914, which is the black one with the 2 cabins. There's also the second generation, which is the gray or silver one. The Panama Canal also charges different type of services aside from the toll. Just remember that the toll today that the Legend of the Seas is paying is $277,000 to transit. For example, additional fees per different service we provide is the cables that each locomotive is using. For example, the Legend of the Seas, once inside in each lock, is using 6 locomotives, which from the 6, 2 cables are used. That means 12. 12 in each lock. Well, 12 times 3 locks is 36 cables. And per cable we charge $300. Another service that we provide and we assign are the tugboats. Per hour, each tugboat we charge $1,500. And of course, like these two, there are many other type of services we provide. So your transit through the Panama Canal could be a little bit more than $277,000, probably close to $300,000 to transit if we include all the services we provide. The Panama Canal only operates with fresh water. The water, we get it from the rivers, but mainly from the Chagres River. And the rainfall, since here in Panama it rains for at least 8 to 9 months, between mid-April till mid-December, to raise or lower the vessels inside the locks. It's all done by gravity flow. No water pumps are used here. So in other words, the Panama Canal, it's really a great administrator of the water, that is, since we use the water for many purposes. Around 58% of the water is used for the lockages of the ships. A 36% is to generate electricity. We have 2 hydroelectric plants. One is in the Gatun Dam. That one generates 24 megawatts. There's another one up in the upstream of the Chagres River, which is known as Madem Dam. That one generates 36 megawatts. And we have the thermal electric plant, which is here to the left. You can see it. The thermoelectric plant generates 222 megawatts. It operates with bunker. Right next to the thermoelectric plant, you are able to see the white building up on a hill. That's the water plant here on the Pacific side. Each water plant provides around 35 million gallons of fresh water daily. Here in the Pacific and then the other water plant on the Caribbean. And 6% left is used for human consumption. Aside from the 2 water plants here in the canal, there's another one on the west side, about 20 miles away from here. Well, we can hear the bell ring, meaning that we're ready to open the gates and about to enter the last chamber to go. We have just been lowered 27 feet here, so we can be back to sea level. Well, here there's a steel structure right at the end of this locks. This is the Miraflores swing bridge. It's actually the first bridge to cross over the canal. It was built back in 1942 for military purposes, right here at the front, both ends of the locks. This swing bridge, once again, was built back in 1942. It was the first bridge to cross over. Before the bridge, what we used to have were ferries that cross vehicles as well as people from one side to the other. 20 years after this bridge was built, the Americas Bridge then was built, which you will be able to see after you go a few miles out south once we're out of the locks.
Las aguas claras del río Tocaimo me dieron fuerzas para cantar. Llegó de pronto a mi pensamiento esta bella melodía y como nada tenía, la aproveché en el momento. Y como nada tenía, la aproveché en el momento.
The smallest vessel to go through the canal was the remote control replica of the SS Ancon. Back in 1964 for the 50th anniversary of the canal. This vessel was 36 inches long, 7 inches wide. Based on the dimensions, the replica of the SS Ancon paid 70 cents. The lowest toll ever paid in the Panama Canal was actually done by Richard Halliburton. He swam the canal in 10 days in the year 1928. It was actually weighted and measured, and based on that, they charged him 36 cents. That was the lowest toll ever paid in history. Well, he actually swam the canal and also did the lockages like a vessel. He was raised and lowered, which could be very, very dangerous. Once you're being lowered, you can be sucked through one of the tunnels. But he had help, actually. He had a small rowboat which was following him, and he grabbed onto the rowboat. On the boat, there was a photographer, the man that was rowing the boat, and a rifleman, just in case any crocodile got near him. He was not the only person to swim the canal. There were many before and after him. Actually, the first people to swim the canal was back in December 1913, 6 months before the canal was officially opened. Mr. Alfred Brown, and the only woman to swim the canal ever, Elaine Golden. That was back in December 1913. The Panama Canal opened its doors in August 15, 1914. And since the canal first opened, the waterway has provided quality service to more than 1 million transits. Transit number 1 million went through the Panama Canal in September 2010. The vessel transiting that day was Ocean Fly. It was a northbound transit from the Pacific to the Caribbean. The canal runs from northwest to southeast. It has an extension of 50 miles long, from deep waters in the Pacific to deep waters in the Caribbean. The canal has 3 locks, 2 in the Pacific side, which are Miraflores and Pedro Miguel, 1 on the Caribbean side with the name of Gatun. We also have 3 artificial lakes. Gatun Lake, which was once the largest man-made lake in the world in 1914. That same year, Miraflores Lake was created. And last, Alajuela Lake, which was created back in the 1930s as a reservoir. The Panama Canal took 10 years to be built between 1904 and 1914 by the United States at a cost of $375 million. And more than 75,000 people came to build the Panama Canal, and approximately 25,000 died. We have an average of 39 transits daily, or for a period of 24 hours. An average size vessel pays a toll of around $105,000. And annually, we have over 14,000 transits. If we do the math correctly, we can figure out that the Panama Canal has a daily income of $6 to $8 million, which half of this daily income goes to maintenance, expansion of the canal, and operation. We are over 10,000 employees. Everything left is profit, and it's reported to the national government. For last fiscal year 2013, the Panama Canal Authority reported to the national government close to $1 billion. The main users of the Panama Canal, in first place, we have the United States of America. Second place, we have People's Republic of China. Third place, we have Chile. Fourth, Japan. And fifth, South Korea. The main commodities that transit the most through the Panama Canal, first place, we have containers. Second, we have grains like rice, corn, beans. In third place, we have petroleum and products. Now, the tides of the Pacific Ocean do not affect the Panama Canal because once the canal was being built, they dredged all the entrance, all the way out. Even in low tide, we have water in the entrance of the canal. Straight ahead, we can see the hill, which is Ancon Hill, the highest point of Panama City, at 652 feet above sea level. It was actually the first territory that was transferred from the U.S. to Panama back in 1979. That year, the Panamanian flag was placed right at the top. That Panamanian flag looks quite small from here, but it actually has the size of a basketball court. In 1979, the cost of the flag was $15,000. At the present, for maintenance, monthly, the government pays around $4,000 to repair due to the fast wind that affects the flag at the top. At this moment, I would like to say farewell. I would like to thank you for your attention. I really hope that you enjoyed your transit through the Panama Canal today. And hopefully you will be back very soon through the waterway, most probably to visit the new locks. So thank you once again and have a wonderful evening.